Greetings, customizers. Welcome to the next adventure at Talking Ants Customs. To all my subscribers, thank you very much. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the channel. We are doing another vehicle scheme swap. In this case, we are going to make a Skyhawk look like the old APC. Why are we doing that? Because I think it's going to look really awesome. And we're customizers. We customize things. So let's begin. Right now you got your Skyhawk here, and I already did a video on the nuances of customizing a Skyhawk, so check out the vehicle spotlight on the Skyhawk for any sort of details. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the stickers, get it cleaned up, and we're going to move on down. What I've done for my pre-visualization is I've decided to make the three fins and the canopy the same camouflage as the canvas on the APC. The skis, missiles, and engines are going to stay the same color. And the fuselage is going to be that weird dark gray-green, which you can see I've kind of mixed up here on the side. And I'll tell you the colors I'm using for that. So without further ado, let's get this guy out of here. The thing to note with doing the APC is that it's another game of the color's not what you think it is. So in this case, let's start with the canvas because that's the most difficult part. Actually, they're all difficult on this one, shockingly so. So the light color here is we'd call it tan. If you look at it really close and if you cover up those barfy yellow bits, it's actually like a pink tan color. And the color I used for that is a Mission Models color called British Light Stone. It's the same color. It's got that same pink hue to it. And the thing is, if you've ever heard about it, like the Pink Panther Jeep from World War II, etc., etc., etc. A lot of these tans actually have a bit of a pink undertone to them, and so does this one, which was interesting because I never really looked at it this close before. And then with this yellow kind of barf color here, it's a yellow-green with a slight tinge towards red in it. I know that sounds really weird, and we talked about how what the color actually is sounds different than what the color actually is different than what it sounds like it should be. So in this case, I'll be using Tamiya yellow-green mixed with some flat red to achieve that color, and that will be straight out of the bottom. The next issue with this is matching this green. Not the interior color here, that's different altogether. But the problem is that we want to say it's olive drab, but it's like this really dark gray-green color, which I'm currently mixing up right now. I'm using Citadel Air paints to do it. And right now what I've got on the go is some Castellan green mixed with some Administratum gray or whatever, and then some Abaddon black as a base. And I'm adjusting those ratios even as I'm making this video to try and match that green. It is a pain in the butt. Unfortunately, my local hobby stores are basically bled dry of paint. They're not getting any anytime soon, so I'm trying to use what I've got to mix it. Is there a color out there that probably matches it almost 100%? Yeah. Can I get it? No. So we're making do. And that's what I'm just doing right now, is messing around with the tone of this. So I'll show you some of that here, actually. I've got a good amount mixed already, and the thing is that I'm trying to gray it up enough to make it actually work. And it's still, I think, a little too dark. It needs just that little bit more gray in it. I think the tone is right, or the value is right, but the tone is off. Whatever. I'm in the neighborhood for the green, and I got to bring it just a little bit out of that by mixing in, and I'm doing it very precisely here because that's the mood I'm in. Let's see what that does. If this is your first time watching the channel, I like to eyeball things. If you're a measurements type of person, then by all means measure away. But where's the fun in that? And get all this in here. The Citadel Air, what I found while spraying it through an airbrush, actually isn't airbrush ready. So use thinners, and that's all I'll say. Maybe less thinners than you would for regular Citadel paint, which basically comes out like a well, very thickly. Oh, I think we're getting it. Of course, I always say that, and then I always change my mind. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to get this all mixed up. So I'm just making sure I get a good thorough mix here to make sure that all the colors have had a chance to blend together. And I think I'm going to let some pour up the side here because I'm holding it close to my APC and I'm trying not to get the APC dirty. So if I hold that up, that's actually not bad at all. Yeah, and it'll go darker when I airbrush it. So we're going to leave it at that for now and go from there. So I'm going to get the fuselage primed and painted up in this base color, and we'll go for the next steps. Okay, now while that's drying, let's talk about the color and why I mixed what I mixed. So using the 3 here, basically this color was close enough. Well, let's say close enough, it was close, but it was a little too green. So in order to neutralize that saturation, make it a little bit less green without overly changing its color, I added the gray. And what that did is it kind of flattened the green and it made it a little bit lighter. So it pushed it in, you're mixing gray, so it's going to make it more gray, if you will. But what it does is then it makes it too light. So I've kind of taken the edge off the green and I've lightened it. And then I add in a little bit of Abaddon black just to knock the tone or the value back down so it's a little bit more green again. I know that sounds really weird, but I promise if you do it like that, that's what it does. So don't be shy about using gray. Don't just use black and white. The way that you mix the colors and when you mix them makes a difference. So I grayed out this green a little bit first to give it that gray-green look, and then because it's a light gray that I used, I darkened it back down with black. Could you potentially make this with 2 colors? Let's say you used a dark gray. Yeah. But in this case, I knew I had the light gray and I wanted to try and keep the airbrushed colors all together, and that's what I had. So there it is. And it was slightly off looking at the cup here from the vehicle, but then when I airbrushed it on and it's drying now, it should be a much closer match. So don't try and match the color necessarily exactly when it's wet here. It's got to look the same when it's dry. So in this case, it was a little bit lighter than it looked on the APC, but then when you airbrush it and then it dries, it then becomes the same, relatively the same tone. And I'll put my money where my mouth is in just a hot second when we see what this looks like when it's all dried up. And taking a look here, the color theory was sound, but I was still just a little bit too light, so I'm edging it closer towards what I finally want. I could stop here, but right now I'm going to push my luck and get it even further. So like I like to show you is if I make mistakes or I have to repeat steps or something like that, I want you to see that, because it's not just, oh, I just mixed these colors and poof, I barfed out a Skyhawk. There is a technique and an art and a process to it. So in this case, I'm happy with the overall color. I just need to make it a little bit darker, and then we'll be off to the races, because I'm really trying to push this right close to it, because at the end of the day, what I want to do is be able to sit this beside the APC and have them look as close as possible to each other to carry over that illusion. And again, if this is your first episode, the aesthetic I like to do is making it look like Hasbro released or re-released older vehicles in new color schemes to carry on the toy line. So I'm going to try this one more time with a slightly darker tone. Hopefully it picks up on camera too, but if not, then you'll just have to take my word for it. And here we go. All right, and there we go with the darker green on there. It pushed it a little bit darker where I wanted it to go, pretty sure anyway. We won't actually be able to really tell final verdict until we get the gloss coat on it, because different clear coats can basically change the color, so to speak. And Toronto Magic can sometimes be a pain in the butt. So in this case, I'm certainly happy with the flat version or matte version of this color. And I am going to put a semi-gloss on it, like most of my projects in this case, to match the sheen of the APC. And yeah, so that's the size of that. So now that the fuselage is all done up, why don't we go and let's do the fins and all the other bits. Okay, and for the next bits, we've got them primed, and we're going to add the lighter of the 2 camouflage colors as the base color, which will be British Light Stone. This is by Mission Models, and it's that tan pink we were talking about, or pink tan, depending on how you want to look at it. And we'll get that on right now. Okay, as I mess around with colors here, just to show you sometimes how much of a labor of love this can be. I've tried multiple combinations of different colors to get close to the correct one, and what I came up with at the end of the day was Vallejo to the rescue again. Vallejo model color deep yellow mixed with Vallejo model color brown sand. And that's what I'm working on right now. So we're putting the paint on. This is a good exercise in practicing freehand camouflage. And in trying to match the color, I made my lines a little thick. So now what I'm doing is I'm going back with the original base color, that sandy pink color, and I'm touching up the camouflage. And trying to provide a little bit of misting over top of the original color. And what that is spraying from a distance to just ever so slightly change the tint of things. You might find that you have to go back and forth a few times, depending on, and I'm really trying to nail this one. And finding that fine balance between going, I'm sick of this project and I really want to make it look good. No qualms about it. So let's get into mixing. So this is, a lot of trial and error here. So we'll just get those out of the way. Make sure I left the right cup behind because we're not going to play that game. And let's see what this looks like cleaned up here. Just have to grab my mask, and of course, as always, be mindful of the flash. All right, so there's the step done. As you saw from the distance of the brush from to the subject there, that was that mist coat. And all I'm doing is keeping the same pressure I did to do those fine fill-ins there, but I'm shooting from back here. And what that does is it really spreads it out. The trick to that being is that it takes some practice to do, because what happens is if it's not done in the best way possible, you'll get actually sprinkled paint or splotched paint all over the place, and it'll look like you went with like an aerosol can or something like that. So all you're doing is, the purpose of the mist coat is, it is what it sounds like, is that you're misting it on there. So from back here, it's almost like a fog going on there, and hopefully uniformly coating everything. So by doing that, we've actually lightened up the yellow color a little bit. And you might find you have to go back and forth to find that balance. The issue right now is that trying to hone in on this golden brown is proving to be a little bit difficult, especially with the colors I have available. Again, Vallejo to the rescue, and I'm reasonably happy with it. And the other thing being is that when you look at the canopy, or the canopy for the APC, it's got varying degrees of paint application on it. Some stripes are really dark, others are light. You think that you found a uniform patch, and then when you look at it really closely, it's not. So this one here, I'm eyeballing into what should be the final product. And if you're doing this while you're brush painting, then you'll actually be able to see that, well, one, your life will be a lot easier in this case, but you'll see that there are actually some hard lines on there and some soft lines. So I'm going to try and replicate that a little bit by actually brushing on some of this stuff. But right now I'm just trying to find that color balance, which is the process I wanted to show you. So while certainly an interesting subject and I'm looking forward to it, right now I'm working my way through the nuances of trying to get these colors to play the way they do on the rougher textured canopy. So now I'm going to go back with the yellow color, and in a few places where I've kind of maybe lightened it a little bit too much, maybe see if I can put a hard line in there, and we'll see what happens. So again, watch the flash, and here we go. Okay, so now with that process back and forth, it's I'm pretty happy with it. The thing that makes it difficult to judge what the color is going to be like is the fact that the golden brown color I've mixed here is actually gloss, and the light tan pink color is actually flat. So it's hard to judge in the right light whether or not it's too light or too dark. I do like the contrast between the two colors, so in this case I might actually call it not even, I mean, more than close enough, but you know, we're going to carry on with the last bits of the project. But other than that, I think it's actually working out quite well. So there it is. This is just another project where you can practice your airbrushing skills, and this is all freehand. And the designs, I just kind of looked at the canopy and then I looked back at this and tried to mimic it without copying it. So the same style of camouflage. If you haven't seen the video on how to paint camouflage, I do a Action Force Skyhawk in that cool camouflage from a few of their vehicles. And the thing with camouflage is that if you match the colors, it's one thing, but you gotta be close to the pattern too, or else you'll break the illusion. So just look at the pattern and try and mimic the same thing on your project. So let's, I'm gonna get this flat coated, and then I'll semi-gloss it. I'll do that off screen, and then we'll put it together and see what it looks like. And here we are with the finished product. I love the way this thing looks. Doesn't that look neat? I knew, like I said, I know it sounded weird making the Skyhawk look like an APC, but following this pattern here, I really love the way that's turned out. In the end, when I clear coated it, I put a flat coat on to dull everything down because my hand mixed color was way more glossy than the tan color. So I wanted to unify that, knock it all back with a flat, and then I brought it up with a semi-gloss. And here's the final result for the paint. Love the way it looks. Very, very vintage looking G.I. Joe. Like this, to me, looks really plausible as something they could have released as a sub-team or whatever. So I would call this a successful scheme swap. Now, sometimes what you'll find with taking one vehicle scheme and placing it on another, even if you've got the perfect color balance, you have to ask yourself, how true to the original are you going to stay? In this case, the G.I. Joe APC has no markings on any of its camouflaged parts. But when I put that scheme on a Skyhawk, I mean, these side fins here are most of your major real estate for stickers. So be careful not to customize yourself into a corner, or you may have to deviate slightly, let's say, from 100% fidelity, one scheme to the other, or one vehicle to the other. So in this case, I decided to do a hybridization of the two. So I'm going to put the G.I. Joe logo here and the stars and bars here. And then I'm going to put some APC style stickers on the green parts on the fuselage here. So we're going to do like a 50-50 mix, because you don't get the, like if I wanted to put the G.I. Joe emblem on there and the national emblem on there, whether it's Canadian or American, whatever, plus the national title and all that stuff, there's not enough space here. As you can see with the raised detail and stuff here, could you go minimalist? Sure, but I was like, the thing I like about the Skyhawk is the G.I. Joe logo and the stars and bars there, and I don't think that that's going to ruin it. And I think that by putting APC style stickers on the fuselage is really going to help carry that idea over, and rather than just put, and you could actually just get a set of Skyhawk stickers and put them on this color scheme. I think that would be cool too. But I really wanted to nail in the fact that this was APC style, and I love the stickers on the APC. I just think they're elegantly simple. There's nothing flashy about them. They're just, you know, the G.I. Joe logo and some flags here and there, just normal stuff. And I think it's going to look really cool here. So the trick is I've got a Skyhawk set and an APC set of stickers, is to find that right balance between the two without overpopulating the vehicle itself. So let's take care of that right now. And I've got my sticker sets here. Here's the APC set and the Skyhawk set. Pretty interesting because the original Skyhawk set has a lot of one-offs on here. So there's only one flag, there's only one roundel. So it's kind of hard if you wanted to use this as a source for modifying a Skyhawk. But right now, the most important stickers on here are the stars and bars, the G.I. Joe logos, followed by the national insignia. I don't need the sticker for the dashboard or control panel, and it does come with a bunch of names on it for different G.I. Joes. You got Lift Ticket, Flint, Scarlet, Duke, Ripcord, and Airborne, which is totally cool, and you will be able to see them on the light and canopy. So I think I will employ those. From the APC sticker set, what I'm interested in the most is the country name here in the Canada is a little bit shorter than the United States. And of all these national insignia here, probably these two smaller ones down here. I was kind of fixated on these three here, but I kind of like what these two here are doing, and that I can save those for another project. And we'll see if I end up using those flags there or not. Both flags have a serial number on the bottom of them. So again, without trying to break the aesthetic too much or go too busy with the stickers, we might just save those for another project in the future. So what I'm going to do is, because I changed my mind about not putting any stickers on here. I am going to put 2 stickers on each side. I'm going to give myself some time by actually starting the stickers on the fuselage first, because that was the original idea and it's still part of the new idea. But I'm going to start there in case I say, you know what, that actually is good enough. It's the way to test your theory. And if that's the case, then I'll leave stickers off everything else, and I have an extra set of Skyhawk stickers for another project, because there's always other projects, right? So let's start with that. If you're using the United States one here, it is a little bit longer. So I intend to put the country sticker up here, and then a little national roundel there. It's the only way I can do it on the side of the fuselage here. And these APC stickers are kind of the Army theme. If you remember from a previous video, we talked about the theme for these G.I. Joe stickers. Like, they like to put the stars and bars on ground vehicles, even though it's an Air Force symbol, blah, blah, blah. The APC is very classic Army stickers and Army markings, because it's from 1983, which is so cool. All right, so we got our tools out here. I've got a couple of pairs of tweezers and an X-Acto knife. So I'm going to start with the country logo first, because it is the largest, and it will be the sticker that, and all I'm doing is I'm folding it back a bit to raise the edge and lifting it with there. So this will be the biggest sticker on the side, and it will also dictate what happens next if I can't put it there. Right now what I'm trying to do is just drag it along like so. See if it will indeed work. And it's just a hair off. Yeah, I think, well, there's an interesting place to put it. Well, we'll see. Great, now I have a decision to make. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to put that back on there. The other thing I can do, it's just the, I got to point to it with something finer. Just the corner of this sticker here, where the clear part is, goes past the railing. So I could just cut that little corner off. But what I like doing is, if my original idea, and I was fixated on having the Canada and the maple leaf there, if my original idea doesn't work, I just, maybe that's, you know, whatever the universe's way of telling me I should try something different. Maybe. And then when I held the sticker away and it came over here, I was like, ooh, I actually kind of like that. So maybe a slight modification to the original plan. So we'll have to see. So yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, so I'm gonna get that Canada sticker on there in the first spot. There we go. Yeah. So the corner comes up a bit. I'm just gonna shear that off with a knife or just fold it down. Would it look good there with the Canada flag, like the Canada, then the flag, and then G.I. Joe? Yeah, but you're almost introducing like a third aesthetic to your scheme. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not what I'm trying to go for in this particular project. So it's funny, you think the stickers is like, oh yeah, the stickers are like, just slap them on, but it's actually not the case. And again, even with pre-visualization, it's always an interesting test to see whether or not your stickers actually go on or work out the way you wanted them to. Right now I'm just getting a little finicky with these little ones here, these little maple leaves. Seeing as how I am north of the border, I like making most of my stuff Canadian. Which is funny because I never did as a kid, because I was like, you know, G.I. Joe's American. But who knows? Who knows? Come on. All right, well, those ones are really, really troublesome. So if you're using this sheet here, these little maple leaves, I'm just trying to roll the sheet to get it to conform and comply, but it's not wanting to. So now I got to be super careful. There we go. About lifting these up, because you don't want to jam it under there and cause a stretch or a crease in the sticker. Those are always a pain in the butt to deal with. But in this case, oh, it's some super fine work. There we go. And then we'll just check that. Oh, that would be kind of cool in there too, but too much sticker. So it's actually kind of neat. Seeing the sticker in there, it looks kind of cool, but at the same time, given the detail that's in there, there would be too many dirt pockets. And that's not what we're going for. However, problem number 2? Maybe. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was have a Canada, like a maple leaf on here, which was going to go down here, just to keep it a little more open. But it kind of looks good above there. But then I could open this space up here for the maple leaf, like the actual Canadian flag, right? Wow. So this happens. So all I'm going to do is put that sticker down like that. And now I'm going to modify the plan. Potentially. And all I'm going to do is kind of hold up the Canadian flag sticker roughly where it would go. And that looks pretty cool too. Pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look. This is why I have more than one knife, so I can hold stuff up. And let's see what we got here. This might take longer than usual, but like I said, I like showing you sometimes, like, this isn't always a clear-cut case of sticker, done, right? And this one here, I knew this was going to be the challenging part, aside from like mixing colors and all that other stuff. But oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Oh, I like that. Yeah, okay, there's the new standard. So what I'm going to do now is line that sticker up where I want it. And it does work there, so that's cool. Come on. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like that. So now I can take this other maple leaf sticker and think if there's another place I'd rather see it. That's actually kind of cool on the engines too. Man, okay. Maybe there? I don't know. Let's see. I just put it on the edge there. It's not pushed down at all. It's barely hanging on there. But, well, maybe we're going a little overzealous on that stuff. So, I mean, how much Canada do you need on the side of something, right? Am I right? I kind of like it there, though. So my whole thing with this aesthetic, and the reason why I like things like the APC, is I love the dark green stuff with the white stickers on it. I just love the contrast in colors, and it's very classic military, almost Second World War. You know what? I am going to put that there. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, you know what? I quite like that. Yeah, that's going to stay like that. Because when I have a custom APC coming up in the future, but I'm going to make that one American. So I like, oh yeah, look at that. I like it. All right, let's get the other two major stickers on here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about mixing the aesthetic. So let's get the G.I. Joe logo on, because that's what makes everything pop. In this case, the sticker has a curve to it. So now I'm going to relocate my knife. There we go. And I want that to be as even as possible. So I'm landmarking this by having it, yeah, I like it there. The edge of the sticker is in line with two of the rivets here on the right side of the sticker. And then no further down than the bottom of that rivet. And I think that works just fine like that. So you can see these two rivets here are my landmark. And then it's parallel to that line there. And it's lined up with the bottom of the rivet and the vertical rivets there. So there's that. And let's get this star and bar on here. Like this. Whoa! Decided to do its own thing. I need a young priest and an old priest. Okay, here we go. And then I'm going to landmark this. Eyeball the middle vertically. And then the star itself, the top of the star is going to be in line with that. There we go. Look at that. Bosh. So minus any other stickers, and you know what? Let's do it now. I love this surface on the Skyhawk. It's one of those things like, you know, in a lot of aircraft, a lot of vehicles, they have some kind of marking on the top, so anybody above them can recognize them if they're a good or bad guy or whatever. I have a collection or a flock of Skyhawks, if you will. And none of them have the Canadian sticker on it. I don't know what that was. Maybe a lot of kids felt the same way I did in that it was American, so why would I put a Canadian sticker on it? But, ooh, that should be oriented the other way. There we go. Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've ever seen a Skyhawk with a Canadian sticker on top. Not that I can remember anyway. But look at that. Oh, that's glorious. Absolutely glorious. I love it. Maple leaves everywhere. If you're doing the United States version, absolutely. But just keep in mind that it's longer than the Canada version. So if you are following along with this project, it likely won't fit there and you may have to change it. Or at least source another sticker set, not using the United States from the APC stickers. And there you have it. So I'm going to finish stickering this thing up and we'll do a final reveal and carry on. And here we are with the finished project. I am very happy the way this turned out. Let's go over some of the stickers that I ended up using. I used the Skyhawk stickers on the fin there. I was originally trying to stay 100% true to the APC style with no stickers on any of the camouflage bits, but it was such a waste of space to not include them, and I thought stick with the vintage stuff because that's what I'm trying to do, is make this look like it actually came from 1984 and they just made it the same colors as the APC. The APC style stickers on the front here I love. So we've got that nice army green color there with the white high contrast stickers, the classic army look, with a little bit of patriotism there on the bottom and a few other original Skyhawk stickers throughout just to give something to do. And of course, I bought the sticker, so I might as well use some of the extra ones, and it didn't distract from the overall aesthetic at all. The pilot I decided to put in there was everybody's favorite redhead, Scarlet. The Skyhawk sticker replacement set comes with a bunch of different names, not all from the original Skyhawk as well, which I thought it was a nice touch. And there it is. I also ended up employing the clear nail polish trick to get these to stand up horizontally. And that's just something that's going to have to happen because this is technically a partial repaint in that the skis, the missiles, and the engines are all the original color. So I put the nail polish in there, a couple of coats of that so that it would hold these firm. And that's the size of it. So I hope your projects are going along just as well. I want to thank all my subscribers again. I appreciate the support. And if you're new to the channel, consider giving a like and subscribe. And there'll certainly be future adventures on Talking Hands Custom. So in the meantime, be safe and have fun.